bring those persons who have attempted suicide to say what has driven it and what has gotten them away from it completely, or whether they're still in that situation, in that journey.
And I think what you've just said is so important, you know, because if we can get a collective of people who are in that mindset with regards to considering suicide, thinking about suicide, who have decided not to go all the way through, you know, that's the body of study that we need.
Yes. How do we share that information with others? Because I could remember I had a staff member at one point, and she attempted, but she actually wrote a book. So I'm actually saying I really need to get that book again and go back and she actually wrote a book.
And it's courageous when people do that, you know. But you see, what I'm glad about is the stigmas that we had. They do seem to be breaking away now. The conversation, it used to be a very hidden conversation where I'll actually hear people say, you know, I tried. I actually tried to commit suicide.
I thought about it.
Yes, I thought about it. Where this was not something we were hearing.
Okay.
But, you know, what do you see in terms of the trends? You know, it's International Women's Day, and I'm sure there will be many, many women listening.
They'll be listening, but that's why we've decided to deal with the month instead of the day, because what we find here in St. Lucia, today's International Women's Day, we discuss all these issues and then we forget it tomorrow morning.
That's so true.
And that is a big issue for us. How do we put structures and systems and networks in place so that we continue the dialogue and we continue the support and deal with the issues? We are having a women's platform on Thursday evening in Grosley, and we are actually hoping that we can discuss these issues and come out with some key action plan that we want. The Ministry of Health, the Minister has indicated that the Ministry has organized some 4 in-studio panel discussions. And yes, I think one was recorded yesterday. So we are going to have 4 of these. And they would collect the data coming out of it and assist in terms of the action that we need to take.
We do. You see, the thing is, the operative thing is the action. All right, because now, what I'm worried about in St. Lucia right now, remember we're a small country.
Yes.
And this can actually work in our advantage as far as I'm concerned. But when somebody commits suicide, when someone dies, they're not far removed from any one of us here. So I think there's a collective trauma that we're all going through. And when I turn on the news sometimes, it penetrates my soul. I just think, oh no, my gosh.
A lot of pain, yes.
A lot of pain.
A lot of pain, yes.
And when there's pain, how much help do people get to get over this pain?
Well, maybe, Angie, that is, and that is where your strength is in terms of your background, and that is what sometimes we don't understand, that as long as there is loss, there is trauma.
Yeah.
And how we deal with it, I think, is where the challenge is, because some persons think, well, I'm okay. Even a basic, simple, what we call a death, a natural death, there is significant pain.
Yeah.
And for some persons, they get over it in a few months. Some persons say years.
Yeah, many years sometimes.
Many years, you're still dealing with that loss. And where is the network to provide you that support to say, well, it's all right to grieve?
Or even the feelings that you're feeling are normal.
Normal, yes.
You know, look, I saw a clip on the news, I can't remember which one, but with regards to this very tragic 2 brothers in an altercation.
Yes.
And one kills the brother, right? Yeah. And the other on the run, as far as we know.
The entire family is in pain.
In trauma.
Yeah.
And when I look at the mother's face,
yes,
I'm thinking, even in terms of her being able to grapple with that pain, you can see that she doesn't know.
She does not know how to deal with it.
No.
Yeah.
And it can seem like we are limited in our compassion, but I just think that we are traumatized.
Yeah. And that is the type of help. I believe here we might have those skills, persons who are properly trained, they might be retirees that are sitting at home.
Yes.
And I think what we need is a network. Are these people available? Would they provide their services, or do we have to bring this type of skill sets into the country? What is it?
Well, I like what you've said, and I think that's a very good point, and I hope that our listeners are really getting this, because there are people who might be retired.
Yes.
There are many people who could probably, give their services and help out.
Yes. Because it's only when we provide that service and provide that support network that we will deal with the issue. Because if not, we continue walking away. We continue walking away and pretend that it is not our business. It is only when it comes close to our doorsteps that we start screaming.
And it's horrible, but let us go there. All
yes.
Right? Let's look at this. We've had a deduction in crime overall for the year 2015.
Yeah.
But not in the areas of sexual crimes.
Right. Yes.
And why do you think, in your opinion, why do you think that we have this increase?
Well, I don't know why. I don't want to speculate as to why, but when I sort of look around, I see there are a lot of things I believe I can point to. I might be wrong. Mm-hmm. The way we raise our kids.
I don't think you're wrong. I think that is a factor.
Yeah,
it is a factor.
It is a factor. Whatever religious education you had is very limited at the moment. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of things that we have to revisit.
Yeah.
What is the role of our church? The role of our family? The strength of the family unit? Because now you have a lot of single parents who are working, children are on their own, they have access to internet, they have access to all types of things that they're not supposed to. Yeah. Whatever we feed them with, they develop a lot earlier.
Exactly.
The food.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things that is just coming into that mix.
And I wonder if you'd agree with me that I think, again, this is where our strength lies, because we're a small country. And if we have leadership, that cares, and I know you're one of them. I know that.
Thank you. Yeah.
If we have leadership that cares, then we can see a difference, because that's what we need, and we need this to sort of trickle down to everybody at the grassroots. Because very often, you and myself will be able to talk about some of the issues that we think, the reason why things are happening. But the people that really, really need this information, the grassroots, they're not getting that information.
You're correct. And that was discussed with the Minister for Gender Relations. And in fact, the first set of activities, the 4 town hall meetings, not the town hall, the in-studio meetings, in our discussion, we are saying you now have to then bring this into what we call town hall meetings in community, so that you start discussing it with persons, what is the issue. But I went even further. I believe that we have to look at what is the programs we bring within our school system, because
otherwise it doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense. Basic programs that as a country we need to look at. For example, I know at one point we had the Virtues program, which is a very program, an international program, but it looks at character building, it looks at some of the issues.
So why did we get rid of that?
Well, we didn't just get rid of it. It started by the NCF. So it really needs a wider embrace and then placed through the system, whether it's at the infant and primary level, so that it becomes, I know St. Kitts or some other countries have actually embraced it. So it's one of the issues I believe we have to look at, get the resources right, and try to put something to supplement what is happening now.
But it's actually one of the tenets in terms of creating positive change. It's education. All right? And when you talk about virtues, we're talking about the morals, we're talking about character building, skill building, soft skills. Yeah. And this cannot be left out of our education.
Yeah, because if it is not taught, and that is the challenge, we are not teaching what we used to teach before, basic things that seems not to be important, but impacts us as individuals.
And society as
well. And society, yes.
Because in St. Lucia we have a beautiful, beautiful country.
Yes.
But, the trends that we see rising.
Yeah, we need to reverse it.
So, the other thing as well, I just wanted to ask you this. Africa, right, has the lowest life expectancy of 52.7 years. That's nothing, right? Men, but North America has the highest. That's 73.5 and 80.2 for women.
Wow.
Now, what a disparity, right? Now, I could say that we're sort of in between because we have African heritage and we're much closer to North America. Do you have any idea, because I don't, of what our life expectancy is here?
Well, I can't pull a figure out. I know when I was at the NIC, when we were determining the pension age at 67, I think it was above that already. It was already above that. So we might be closer to a 70 range. But it's more the Department of Statistics because it's been reviewed every minute.
Yeah.
Yes.
And but what I'm wondering now is when you look at our young men, I wonder if that would actually bring that statistic down because we're losing them, aren't we?
Well, yes, and it's always it's that issue in terms of why persons don't treasure life.
Yeah.
And I think you need to ask them that. And it's only when you have a session sometimes, and again, I mean, I'm just taking myself as an example. When I get into my 2-year gap, I'm always in a rush, but often on then you stop and chat with the guys at the front.
Right.
To just have a discussion in terms of what are you thinking?
And you do that, do you?
Yes.
I think that's brilliant.
I said.
No, but hold on. You know, listeners, there you go. Here's something that you probably didn't know about the Honourable Emma Hippolyte, okay? That she will actually take the time, and I admire that. I wish more people would, with in quotes status, all right? Take the time to engage and interact with the everyday person.
Yeah. That's important because
it is.
If you're serving them, you need to know what's affecting them.
And what do they say?
Well, they want work. At first I took their names. What's your background? What have you done? What you study? What's your age? Because it's only when you have that type of information then you can put programs around it. What I have found is when I sort of engaged others in the past, I was concerned about the unemployed youth. I am always concerned about unemployed youth. And I started focusing on those playing sports. And I always said that, look, if they are unemployed, then the nutrition that is required for them to be playing sports is missing. And then we only accuse them when they don't perform. We get upset when they don't perform, but we are not concerned. Exactly. Yeah. So we need to be concerned about their nutrition. And they can only get nutrition if they get money. So, so then you look and try to work with them to get a job. But what I found was it was taking us a little while to convince some of them that they need to get retooled. That is a challenge. Education, because you have our young persons, some of them may have gone to SAFA, some of them may not have gone to SAFA. But when you have remained unemployed for 2 years, 3 years, in order to get back into this work stream, you need to be retooled. And that, I believe, is always something that they're reluctant to even invest, whether it is the 6 weeks or 8 weeks of training to get themselves ready again for the work market.
Let me ask you
that
something.
Message, I need others to let that discussion must go on. Our young people must understand that they need to retool to get back into the work system.
Now, where I agree with you, that the challenge is to get them to even see that they need to be retooled, but it's challenging for them to make that step. I'm not making excuses for anybody. I just want to give an insight into a mindset.
Okay.
Because you face stigma and embarrassment. You're embarrassed already with yourself because maybe you stopped going to school at 14.
14, yes.
So your level of literacy is not very good. Okay, your grammar, your being able to communicate effectively, you have a sense of not being good enough.
Yes.
So that you're going to face this beast when you get yourself on any program. And we're dealing with men.
Yes,
most often
ego.
Right, and they have a lot of pride.
Yes.
And this is something that we have to learn how to understand and grapple with.
And there you've said it right, Angie, and that's what I'm saying. That's where the skill sets that you have, we need persons who understand that part of it to help us get these young men into a different frame of mind.
Yeah, get them on the program.
And get them on programs. Because, for example, with the NSDC, Mrs. Sanpri, I went to her, they responded to the first request. They were looking for 33 young men, unemployed young men, to be trained into the youth program. We went, we spoke, we finally got 20.
Well, that's not bad. That's not
so the first program, when I last spoke with her, the program is completed now, and some of them are at work.
That's excellent.
Now, I told her, look, I need my statistics and I need my data, because I need... No, it's good, so that we say we've trained 20, 10 got work, or 15 got work, whatever it is, and then to encourage others. Because it's that success story. Because sometimes they do not trust when you tell them, look, you need to get into a program and then you will get work. So they need to know that it has happened.
And worked.
So that they can then have the trust and the confidence to say, okay, I will try it. But it is, to me, one of the greatest challenges we have, and trying to do all the different things and to get our young people focused. But I'm very pleased that Grozile now has a Grozile Youth Council, because we did not have that before. And it was always so difficult to communicate with the youth. So we now have a Grozile Youth Council. So I'm hoping that we can continue working with them so that we can place a lot more focus on our young people. Our young women as well.
I was going to ask you, do you find that it's easier to get women to take that option of getting themselves retooled?
Well, I'm not sure, because I focused on the guys at that time, the last training that we had. The young ladies, when they come to my constituency office, they've got 1 child, 2 children, or 3 children, and they have to be focusing on not only self, on child care. How to send that, they need support to send that child to school, then they need a job. So the roles and the lives becomes a lot more complex, because most times they do not have a support system to help them with being mother, being, to take care of themselves first as individuals, and then to take care of the children.
And this is one of the things that I would really, really love, again, not to lay everything on your shoulders because you're a woman, but what can turn a society around is childcare.
Yes.
All right. Flexible working hours. And especially if there can be childcare within the workplace as well. I know it takes money. It's always coming back to money.
That is always the challenge, Angie, because when I look at what is happening, even when I was at the NIC, from that time, the government did discuss the whole issue of, at that time it was exactly where the post office is now, at the back of Julian's at the bottom there. It was originally reserved for, childcare for persons in the public service.
I never knew that.
Yes, and that particular area there. But then we had to be working with the civil service cooperative to try to support it, the rent on that place and the investment. And it did not happen. But when you look at the costs, even when you look at government as an employer, and the cost to government of all mothers living at a particular, coming late because they have to take their children to school, leaving the hours they miss by having to go and pick up the children.
And when the children are not well and school holidays, it's huge.
It's a huge cost to government and to society. And how do you manage that, I think, is the thing. How do we manage it? That's another discussion that we could have.
Yeah, I think so, because then we have to find ways to meet that challenge.
It's a big challenge.
Because otherwise, it might sound pessimistic, and I'm not a pessimist, but I see more suicides, more offences. I do, unless we get to grips with all the ills, all
the pressures.
Yeah.
So what it would be good to have a session. I'm trying to establish it through my own office and a web page. It's just for people to come out and say, what are the issues impacting you? What are things you want to fix up? Just tell us.
I think that's nice.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that?
About what they want to fix up. A lot of things to be fixed up. But if you can pick up a few of them, if based on the responses from everybody, you can pick up 2 or 3 and try to address that. We have to start somewhere.
Yeah. I think that's a
but it's a lot of fixing.
All right, let us go to a break.